All right, please, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me now? All right, please, can you hear me so that we can start? All right. Okay, so if you can hear me, then we're going to start immediately, and let's quickly look at the dollar index. Please confirm again if you can hear me. 5 on 5. You can hear me? Just type 5, please. I don't know. It looks like my audio connection is not. If you can hear me, type 5, and if you can see my chart, type 1, please, so that we move on. Okay, so okay, thank you, Litra. I think good. All right, so we're going to start first with DXY, and currently I'm looking at the 3 months time frame. Okay, there is something I noticed on this 3 months time frame which is very interesting, and I would like you, to for us to look at it now. If we look at DXY on the 3 months time frame, we had talked about this for quite some time, that this was a breaker block, and then price came directly. Right. So price retested the breaker block, and now we had let's say an inside bar candle that closed within after taking out this candle slow. Now we have a fair value gap right here, which also is sitting beside this, which also aligns with this. We can also call this a breaker block. So potentially on the 3 months time frame, we'll want to say that okay, we want to see prices move higher, right, into this fair value gap before maybe further push to the downside if that's what is going to happen. But for now, we just want to limit our uh, institutional order flow to this 3 months fair value gap. So I'm just going to put here 3 months average. Okay, 3 months average, that's going to be like our target for now. And then also here we have the 3 months low. So let me just put that as well. 3 months previous previous 3 months low. Okay, I just put it like that. Previous 3 months low. So we can now move down to maybe even just the weekly straight. I just wanted us to look at this high, which is actually the 3 months fair value gap, so that this we're going to have we're going to look at it closely. All right, now on the 3 months time frame, we have this high, which is our fair value gap. Now this is very important. This particular fair value gap here is very important, and the high looks very clean, so we can say that this is our buy side liquidity. Plus we notice that price actually took out this previous 3 months candles low, and we definitely looking at price moving up to that one after we saw this huge rejection. So this is actually a rejection order block on the weekly time frame. Rejection, let me just put that. That's actually a rejection order block we have around there. Yeah. Okay, all right, good. And last week price traded back down to it. Price came back, retested the rejection block, which is of the weekly time frame, and we closed bearish. So this week we're expecting higher prices, as I can put it. If we're expecting higher prices this week, what is likely going to happen, or where will price trade to first before giving us any push either to the downside, or I mean what will support price, or what will be able to carry price to continue moving higher. All right, so that's what we are going to be looking at today. If we're targeting that 3 months fair value gap, or first we can start targeting this weekly high. And also, you guys remember in our last session we mentioned this trend line liquidity here, that we are also expecting price to clear that trend line liquidity. So we also have these highs to be taken. So this one will likely be our first target. This one will be our first target, and we'll reduce the key to this. Okay, and this can be our second. This will be our second target. Okay, and then the 3 months fair value gap will be the end, our last target. Okay, now let's go straight down to the daily chart, and then we'll see what we have here. Now on the daily time frame, we have price shifting bullish right from here, and then we have this intermediate low right here. Okay, this low right here, and then we have this one right here. Now also last week I was already expecting higher prices, but due to the news release, due to the postponing of the NFP, because I was expecting maybe a spike down to this other block because price has not fully mitigated that other block. Right? Price has not fully mitigated the other block, so I was expecting a spike down to that at least before price can push back to the upside, but that did not happen. So I'm thinking that this week the only areas where we can have quick manipulation or people that are buying, right? The people that are buying this week, their stop losses are right here. Okay, so the stop losses of people that are buying this week, they have their sell orders here. Okay, I mean this is the most logical area for people who are buying already to place their stop losses. If you guys agree with me. Am I correct? If you are buying, is that a logical area for you to place your stop loss? Huh? I think so, right? Yeah, I think so. So if you're buying, maybe you entered on Thursday and at least your stop loss should be down here. Maybe you bought as a retest of this breaker, your stop loss should be down here. So let me just remove this breaker line, this rejection block. So people that are buying, remember I always tell you this, if you're buying this market, maybe you entered here, all right, if that's your buying, then your stop loss here is actually a sell order, right? You're selling back what you bought now at a cheaper price, so that's why you're making a loss. Now if this market wants to move higher, I need sellers. This is likely where it's going to get those people, right? So why am I trying to put out this low? We have this other block here which is still not mitigated, all right? So we have an unmitigated other block here. We have an unmitigated other block right here, and I think it's a very good zone for price to come down to. I mean, make it a little bit thicker. Good. So this week, based on how even this Friday has closed, and if price is taking out this area where we have sell orders, that's going to be the previous weekly low. So based on even how the weekly candle has closed, there's likelihood that price will want to maybe trade lower before we move higher. Okay, so I think we should be looking at buys as from this other block, and also this low right here is also very dangerous low because it doesn't. We don't have any, we did not even completely fill this fair value gap. So sometimes price might still want to uh, play around this area, maybe to completely fill it. All right. So which means that we are going to be looking for our buy confirmations once price touches this other block this week. Okay. So if price close above this candle without taking out these stops, then we are going to start buying. So we have this to be our buy validation. If we're waiting for price to break this low, tap into this other block before pushing higher, and if it doesn't happen, then we can start buying if price closes above this. I mean, we are going to be fully bullish if price closes above this candle, this one, okay? And then we're going to be targeting our first target, which is what? The previous weekly high, and then this, the high of this liquidity right here, and then finally the 3 months fair value gap high. Okay, so that's basically just what I'm expecting on DXY. Let me just lock up these things. That's just simply what I'm expecting on DXY. All right, nothing strange. We've taken out these lows, and then we are expecting this high, which is a 3 months fair value gap, to be rated. Also, I really love to see price trade up into this zone here. All right, price had a skip into that area. It's not actually like a suspension on that block, as many of you know about it already. So this is actually what I'm expecting: a refill of this other block and then higher prices. But if price trades lower, we're going to monitor the momentum because it can easily wick out of this. You can easily wick this low before we move higher. Why? Because I mean, like I mentioned already, this zone here is not fully mitigated. All right, price did not actually fill it right to the center. That's why we'll have to be careful when price comes to fill that gap. Okay, so that's basically what I'll be expecting on DXY. Maybe just it's still very possible for price to actually take out this low. And what is also be under this low is the same thing that we saw here. Okay, is the same thing that is here. Sell orders. Sell orders are also right here because people bought from here and then they have the stop losses there. Those that are buying here, they have the stop losses here. So I think those are the two logical areas where price have the stop loss. And price has not rated any of them yet. So it's still possible that we can have another punch below this low. Okay, before prices move higher, but any of them we're going to be watching at price movement from here. But after this we're going to look at let's say we have a double bottom around that low. Okay, on the 1 hour time frame, we're going down to that. So after this we're going to look at fundamentals to see the news that we can be expecting this week. Okay, all right, so actually we had this mitigation block here. We had this mitigation block here on the 4 hour. Exactly, it was nested within the daily fair value gap. Price came back, reacted to it. Let's check that zone on the 1 hour and see. Okay, on the 1 hour time frame, okay, good. Royal Delight, you mentioned that we have some equal lows. That's correct. We have this relative equal lows here, and this is a lot of liquidity, guys. This is a lot of liquidity, and it's now possible that we might even have price trading down somewhere around this point here. Okay, we have like 3 inversions gap there. So we are going to also watch out for this low. Okay, we are going to also watch out for this low because it now looks like we have sell orders there as well. We have sell orders below that low too. So there's a likelihood price might also want to retest that, and in that case we will need to start buying somewhere there. But remember, as I said, we need confirmations from all of this. And also, Delight, as you mentioned, the thing is, there's a likelihood price can still respect this one because we actually had some liquidity grab here. Then move higher before it comes back to ready. Okay, sometimes the market leaves equal highs and lows like that and then it moves before coming back for it later. Okay, the fact is we actually raided some liquidity here before moving higher. So the sell orders that were already here have been raided and then price moves higher. Then for price to continue higher, we need to at least raid these ones here. And if that's the case, then price raise this one, come down to this zone and give us confirmation. Then we might want to engage our buys. Then if it doesn't, then we expect the equal lows to also be taken out and then drop down to this inversion gaps, which is still within the daily fair value gap, and then we can start buying. Remember, I'm not doing this to maybe give you instant entry confirmations or aggressive entries. No. All right, these decisions we're going to make them based on what price is giving us, based on what is happening. Okay, you can also maybe say price might want to completely fill this other block, and this area also looks like we have a volume gap at that point. So these are just zones to consider. Let's see how it looks like on the 1 hour. All right, so we have the volume gap around that point. It's still very interesting. All right, so our higher time frame direction, we are certain about it. We are certain about it, but we still have to watch out how price trades down to this point. Okay, we have to watch out how price trades into this point. And remember, as I said, if we happen that price trades directly to close above this high, then there's a likelihood that price will continue buying from there. Okay, especially on the daily. Then there's a likelihood we are not coming down this point, this far again, and price would want to continue higher. Then this would have mean price has used this as our inducement to fill out the fair value gap on the daily for higher prices. Let's quickly look at Euro USD. Euro USD 3 months time frame. We also have the fair value gap we mentioned. Unfortunately for us here, price was respecting this other block here. So we are looking like the price should at least trade down to this, then it will be a good thing. So we have 3 months average, 3 months average low or average high. We have 3 months average high. Lock it. So going down straight to the weekly time frame, we also see lots of ranging. On the monthly time frame, price actually traded into a fair value gap here, which is this one. That's one of the reasons I really love to see euros drop, because we feel that fair value gap. Also taking out this relative equal highs here. So plus we took out this candle's high and closed back within. We could say that this is a CRT, but we'll watch to see what happens at that point. But remember, this low here is a 3 months fair value gap. Okay, this low is a 3 months fair value gap, and let's go to the weekly now. Remember also, last week live session that we did, we talked about this trend line liquidity here. We're waiting to see if price breaks that low. This has been a hell of consolidation for how many weeks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. Price barely moving higher or lower, just giving wicks left and right. So we have that, this trend line liquidity. There's a likelihood price can drop lower based on the confirmations we see from the higher time frame. And if that's going to happen, then we look at it on the daily time frame. We already shifted lower after taking out this high, okay, especially on DXY. We already took out this low, actually closed below it. And also on Euro USD, price has not fully has price touched this other block. Okay, on Euro USD, price has fully mitigated this other block. Price has traded right into our other block, but DXY hasn't yet. And also, there's no fair value gap on DXY on Euro USD here, unlike that, like what we saw on DXY, right? There's no average there, so there's a likelihood that this guy might maybe just want to trade, take out this high, we test this other block again, and then continue selling. All right. If that's going to be the case, July, therefore, it means that there's a price might not actually want to rate those equal highs that we saw on DXY, but still, it's still possible. The market can still trade up like that and then continue back lower. Okay, let me see. We have this high here. Yeah, the market might play around that zone and then still continue to push to the downside. It's still very possible, and I would really love to see it happen. Okay, but based on what we are seeing right now, there's a likelihood that we're going to start this week with price pushing to the upside. And then before we drop, okay, we started clearing this trend line liquidity. We started clearing this trend line liquidity last week, and that was like a retest of it. That was a retest of that zone. So I have a sell already on this particular Euro USD. I have a sell directly. I took the sell based on this fair value gap like that, and there was also a breakout block around that zone. I think was it on the 15 minute, I guess. So we had a sell right here, and then last week, was it Friday? We took another sell somewhere here, but I think price ripped us out. Yeah. So this week, I think we should, if we can see price at least trade back higher, taking out this high, we'll take out this high, fully uh, filling out this fair value gap, and then maybe mitigating this zone or this other block area. Then from there now we can continue to sell, right? And if that's going to happen, then DXY will fully fill out its DXY will completely rebalance its own fair value gap, because that will mean, remember, if we're selling, at least people that are selling here, they have their buy orders here. All right, it's very important to identify where people are putting their liquidity. So we have buy orders at that high. That's the most logical area to put a buy stop. So to put your buy orders, right? I mean, if you're selling, your stops should be here, right? I know this is another point for people to put their stops as well, but this one we already have everything mitigated here. So if you have price taking out this buy orders here, for those who are selling, then price mitigates that other block. We can push lower from there. I think that will still be like maybe a deeper test or something. I don't know. Let's say like that. Let me put it in the line chart. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. At least maybe if price wants to fully retest that trend line, I don't know. All right. So on this is going to be our primary target, which is the origin of this trend line liquidity that we're having here. After price takes that out, then we also have this zone of this news. Now it's going to be our second target, and then finally the 3 months fair value gap was going to be our another target. Okay, so first target, second target, third target, 3 months fair value gap. That's basically what I'll be expecting to have on Euro USD. But now if price this week opens straight this lower, closes at this point, then we have sell validations. One important thing you need to know or include in your analysis is always having if scenarios, because as you can expect price to move higher and it doesn't mean you're not going to trade, right? You should know where if price reaches, then that's it for the week. Okay, so if price leaves this point, trade this low, closing below this point, there's a likelihood that we are not going up there before we continue this week. We'll likely be targeting this and this one maybe for this particular week. Okay, let me check. Let's go to the 1 hour. Okay, I see what. Okay, let's see. On the 1 hour time frame on Euro USD, all right, we have this other block here. Also not mitigated, and also you guys remember the equal lows delight mentioned on DXY. We have the similar setup here on the Euro USD, and you guys should also remember that we had some inversion gaps on DXY, but here on Euro USD we having but an other block. So we have we can see that we have a good key level to also use this high where people place their buy orders, right? That will also be a zone for maybe buy orders into that. So buy liquidity into this other block, maybe for more lower prices, something like that. So, but with all these zones we're mapping out, there is nothing like, I don't encourage just that type of an aggressive entry because the volume here might be that much. And maybe we're going to trade live again this week on YouTube and then we'll watch how this plays out, right? So if you're not following, make sure you do, so that maybe this week if we're trading live, then we're going to watch how price plays out and then we'll know how we're going to take our positions. Okay. But though this other block here looks very nice, very nice for price to react to. All right, so that's it for Euro USD. Let me put in. Let's go with GU. Let's look at GU. Let me just. Now with GU, I kind of like saw something like an SMT last week. We saw something like an SMT last week on GU. Okay, I don't think so. All right, so let's open GU actually, and then we'll see. All right, on GU we also have a very clean AVG higher here, and if Euro USD is supposed to push a little bit higher as we mentioned, then that will be it for. We would like to see that happen. Two, for GU, what we have here is buy orders. Okay, and then we have this AVG and a very nice order block here. This is a model 1 entry for the CRT that we spotted last week. CR high and low, I think on the monthly. So for those that are swing traders, if price comes like this, we can take a shot from there based on that other block, and then you target a CR low. And also we had some equal lows here. You guys see this? That will be all right. Is it even 3 hours have an OB? Yeah, I saw that. We're gonna check BTC shortly. So this is kind of like a good setup for GU. You guys see that, right? Yeah, this was the SMT we spotted last week. This high. So we have CR high, CR low, and then we have some equal lows here into a fair value gap as well. So, but this is not just a normal trade, okay? I don't want you wait for confirmations here before you take a trade. That's simple. That's it. You wait for confirmations before you engage. Okay, so that's it for GBP USD. Nothing much from there. Also, we have a good order block on the 4-hour around that area too. So I think GU will have very nice sales if price comes up to this point. It's very clean inducement by orders, and that's very clean. So we'll leave GU like that. It's clean, no too much complications. Let's go to gold. Now, you guys remember last week I mentioned that we can likely trade up to 4,000 on gold around here. 3,900. We traded up to 3,900. Not really. We did not touch 3,900. So we have 3,900. We have 320. We have 340. We have 360. We also have 380. Good. Also, we have 350, right? 3,950. Sorry, let's just put this one to 3,950. Yeah, and that's one. And then I delete this one. Delete this one. 3,950. So why I'm putting this is based on this accumulation that we are having here. But last week I was actually expecting a sell on gold. Let's see how the weekly candle closed. So the weekly closed so bullish, very bullish. But then we have this right here. No wick. This is actually like this is gonna be like a draw for us if price starts to sell. Weekly took out previous monthly high. Daily time frame. So daily time frame is still trying to push higher from internal range liquidity to external range liquidity. Okay, price filled out the FEG that we have here, and we are pulling back higher to take out external range liquidity, which is this one. So there's a likelihood, seeing how Friday closed, there's a likelihood that this price might open here, maybe even trade right up to 920 or maybe 950, right, before we can have a pullback. But for now, I'm not bearish on gold. Okay, I'm not bearish on gold, though I was last week. But looking at how the weekly close is not something to. When you see how the weekly or the daily candle closes, it gives you information on what to expect. Yes, Iverson, Mofo. GU is pretty clear. So we have, I will say I'm still bullish on DX and gold. This is our other block here. It's our other block, so price should continue moving higher from here. Maybe into any of these points here. 20, I don't know, we can see just weak this 3,900 and then start getting a reaction from there. But we are going to trade this one live, so we have to watch it together. All right, we have 3,900. That's our 3,900 zone. This one is 3,200. No, 3,920. Sorry, 3,920. 3,920, and then this one is 3,950. 3,950. 3,950. So 3,900 is still a very good spot. Why? Because a lot of people that were selling yesterday, they have their buy orders here. Okay, a lot of people that were selling yesterday, they have their buy orders. I mean, on Friday, they have their buy orders at that point. So if price should take their buy orders, then we have this 3,900, which is actually a very nice big figure. We can maybe have some. Now, I don't see any spot to buy gold now except price moves back right down to this zone. Okay, moving down back to this zone where we have that weekly zone, where we have that weekly no wick candle. Like I mentioned, it's going to be like a draw for us. All right. All right. So we have that's my view on gold. Then price trades down like that, and then maybe we'll have a short buy from there as a reaction, probably to this order block here. Yes. Then we can have price pushing back up from that point. Please, if you can see me clearly, just type 0 on the chat. I don't know if you guys, if I've lost the signal, just type 0 on the chat, please. That's my view on gold. If you want to sell, wait for price to hit 3,900 before you can look for shorts. And if you want to buy, I think you should wait for price at this point around 3,760, because we have sell orders here. We have sell orders at that point, and yeah, price can likely wait to take out that low. That's it for gold. Let's look at GBP GPY. I think we looked at yeah, we had this entry on GBP GPY last week. We're expecting some sales. I think I'm still holding into it. Nothing more, nothing much on that. Though we have this fair value gap here. It's a likelihood that price might want to trade up to, but let's see. Based on how this guy closed for this Friday, I think there's a likelihood that price might want to really trade up to that zone. And if price is going up there, fortunately, it's going to be a retest of this area. Let me put that to the line and then we'll draw a line from there. So I think I'll have to reconsider this area. So we have a good breaker there. It aligns with it also aligns with a fair value gap on the daily and 4-hour chart. And the 4-hour chart, we can use this high as buy orders, right? You can use this. This is gonna be where people who are buying, who are selling, have their stop losses. So that's where we have our buy orders, and if that's where we have our buy orders in the market, then we can likely expect price to retest this breaker from here, and maybe we can have some shorts around that zone. So GBP GPY hit up like that, and then we'll take some shots back down to this point. You can also expect that maybe price can come up to this zone. It's still okay. So because this is a 4-hour time frame, we can wait for 15-minute shift in market structure around that zone to have confirmations for sales, right? So that's all on GBP GPY. Let's look at USD GPY as well. USD GPY. Last week we were expecting longs on GBP GPY. Let's go back to the table. Now I mentioned that we have this our order block. Now we're having some. Remember we're expecting on the we're expecting on DXY some sales before a buy, right? So I'd expected this buy after taking out the stops, maybe to continue higher. So we had an accumulation, manipulation, then a distribution is starting. So this looks very much bullish. Also, price respected this FVG very nicely. So I can expect price to push at least up to this fair value gap here, even this one as well. Higher prices indeed up to this point. So the 4-hour chart, USD GPY, we are bullish. So we have this relative equal lows here. This is a rejection block here, this one. I don't know, we can have price do something like this. Remember, we expecting USD to sell, right, before buying. So if USD want to sell, then we can likely have this guy do something like this. Let's check 1 hour. All right, so that's the typical lows. Price already down. We have a small fair value gap here with this one. Let me just put online at that point. We have that AVG. So let's see 30 minutes. Now that spike was done by the news, and now this is the other block that we have there. Okay, so good. We have a very nice other block at that point, and I think it will be a good thing if we wait for price at that level. On USD GPY. So if you have this retest here and then price sell off into this rejection other block that we saw on the 30-minute, then we can have real buys from there. Now with DXY, we'll be pushing it back to the upside, and we now to target this high. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what happens here on USD next week, this week. Let's look at Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin traded again directly into creating an all-time high again. So at this point, we are still bullish on Bitcoin. Okay, I think I mentioned that last week as we had this close above this high after a retest of this area of resistance, as we can put it. We have created a new all-time high, but I was looking at 3,000, 130,000. Looking at 130,000 is the most logical area for this guy to trade up to. 130,000 around that point. Maybe after 130,000, I don't know if price will really want to bet 150,000. Since we are bullish and you can see we're having a clear bullish trend to the upside, price respecting bullish PDRs, then moving higher. So we can continue at least to 130 before we can have a pullback. On the daily time frame, alright, so on the daily we've expanded quite a lot, and then we have a breaker here, this one. We can have a retest and then a continuation. We can have something like that for so we can have more cells to grab these sell orders here. To grab these sell orders, then maybe to continue higher. And I would love to see price retest this breaker, so which means taking out all these lows. Maybe now from there now we can move to 130, 130k. US 100. Let's look at US 100. US 100. We talked about a breaker and it played out so nicely on our live session last week. All right, and then price gave us very nice confirmation. After reading that high, we took out the CRLO. Let's see where that lead us to. Okay, let me just remove this. Alright, regardless, we are still bullish. Daily time frame, we are still bullish on US 100. Fair value gap here, and then we also have this breaker. So we are still bullish. Maybe this week we take out previous weekly low like that, and then go higher to make another new high. So this can even become our CRT. This one, 4 hour. We have this breaker. So something like that, and then we can continue back higher. Okay, that's for US 100. I think we've covered all the necessary pairs. Let me check RBUSDT. This coin. RBUSDT. How many of you trade cryptocurrency? How many of you trade cryptocurrencies? How many of you trade cryptocurrencies? I want to see this pair looks good. How many of you trade cryptocurrencies? All right. I believe that okay, there's one paying. Alright, good. Guys, I think we have checked almost everything that we needed to check. Alright, I appreciate those of you who have been able to participate on the live session. I wish you guys the best, and remember to put on the notification so that we're going to have a couple of live sessions this week, and you have to be around so that we can trade this analysis together. Okay, we have to trade it together just like we did with analyzing, so that we watch the zones we have mapped out together, and then that will be it. Okay, so um, okay, you trade Solana, Avex, Cake, BTC. All right, I actually had some longs on Cake USDT. I was still actually expecting it to move higher, but it's retracing. I think this retracement is because of BTC that is also trying to drop lower. So, but fully bullish on Cake. I really want to hold it till. I really want to hold it. I feel like we have made a bottom of it here. We have made a bottom here, so I think price should really trade right up to about 40 like that. Maybe it should be. Anyways, we are not talking about that now. But thank you guys so much for joining the live session. Thank you for the likes as well. I really appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. I appreciate that. So we're going to stay connected, right?